Welcome back to Mark My Words Football Podcast with Rob and Scott. And after a crazy week 2 featuring injured kickers losing games, crazy blowouts, and things you just could not see coming, we will recap that great week and look forward to another awesome week 3. So let's get things started off in the recap. We're going to go ahead right to the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins, which is on Thursday Night Football, where the Bills escaped with a victory of 31-10. And such an interesting game for the Bills. This score really does not seem to bear out what the stats may tell you in terms of total yards, as Buffalo was really crushing total yards, 351-247, and also in time of possession, 36 minutes for Miami to only 23 for Buffalo. But Buffalo did really take advantage of the chances they had. Not good numbers at all for Josh Allen, only 139 yards for him, but he didn't need to do more. Buffalo was still able to hang over 30 points for the second consecutive week, and that's certainly giving hope to a lot of fans here. And for Miami, wow, weren't expecting things to go that poorly, and certainly you have to address Tua getting Tua's injury. That's extremely scary, extremely sad for him. I really do hope he's okay. But in this matchup, I really expected Miami's offense to thrive and Buffalo's pass rush have a difficult time getting to Tua with the way that Miami can typically throw the ball quickly and get moving, and that just really never happened. Miami just could never get into a groove. Buffalo's defense seemed to be all over them all night long, and Buffalo's rushing offense just seemed unstoppable. And they were able to find the end zone and do what they had to do, and just really kept this game in check the whole time, despite not having to do a whole lot. So I think this season, for the start of the season, Buffalo has really been a lot different and frankly better than I thought it would be. Seeing a lot of different things than I thought I would see. The offense not having to do maybe as much, but still looking pretty good. Yeah, I really do have liked what I've seen from the Bills so far. And they have a big break now as they wait until Monday Night Football versus Jacksonville. And after that, we're going to head over to a game where the Indianapolis Colts fell to the Green Bay Packers by a score of 16-10. And just what a masterclass it was of coaching in this game by Green Bay Packers coach Matt LaFleur. I came into this game singing the praises of Shane Steichen and really being quite confident that he was going to be able to find a way with the Packers being without Jordan Love in this game. I figured this would be pretty easy for Indianapolis, but Green Bay really executed this game plan perfectly. Just absolutely just demolishing them on the ground. 261 rushing yards. And Malik Willis doing exactly what he had to do, going 12 of 14 in this game and being efficient and not making the bonehead play. Green Bay was able to do what they needed to do and stay afloat without Love and really get the win. So just a really nice win for these guys. And I know myself, I'm very impressed, as is Rob, and I think many other people are as well. To be able to adjust that well, that quickly, just shows how good of a coach LaFleur really is. Now, we can see now if Green Bay's going to be able to hold up without potentially being up without Love even longer. That's going to be a huge question for them. And following that, we're going to go into one of my favorite segments, the NFL Clown of the Week. Everybody loves a good clown, and now it's time to meet the NFL's Clown of the Week for this week. And the Clown of the Week in NFL for this week is Philadelphia Eagles running back Saquon Barkley. Picture this. Your offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, has just drawn you up the perfect play. You're wide open. Not a soul around. Hurts throws you the ball. All you have to do is catch it. And you can probably walk right into the end zone and seal the game. But you don't. You absolutely fail to get the catch. You drop it, and you lost your team the game. What absolute clown-worthy stuff from Saquon Barkley. Just one mistake absolutely erases an amazing game you had. That was an absolutely perfectly drawn up play, and anyone who thinks otherwise is off their rocker. That was absolutely the right decision, and it was just perfect. It would have absolutely sealed the game. Barkley had no pressure. That is 100% on him for that drop, and that cost him the game. Yep. You could have had an amazing game, which he did, and that one play cost them. Saquon Barkley, you've got to stand there. You have got to just receive that catch. You can't be moving your feet too fast. You have to absolutely receive that. Just absolute clown-worthy stuff. Saquon Barkley, you are the clown of the week. So now that after all that clownery is finished, let's head into our Week 3 game picks. We're going to start things off on Thursday Night Football with the New York Jets and the New England Patriots. And in this game, Rob and I have both picked the Jets. Rob says, the Jets look much better against the Titans, even though the score was close. New York was clearly the better team, and Rodgers had a few incredible throws that reminded me of prime Aaron. The Patriots are pesky, but I do believe the Jets are starting to take off right now. And I do tend to agree with what Rob says. And actually, I think I'm feeling a little more confident than he is, too. Confident enough to tend to bring out one of my golden picks here and throw out a mark my words. Mark my words. I think the New York Jets are going to take off this week. They are going to beat the Patriots by 10 plus and cement themselves as a contender in the AFC. Time to prove yourself, Jets. Go out and do it. Jets win this week. 10 plus points. Marking it down. After that, we're going to head over to the Cleveland Browns and the New York Giants. And in this game, Rob and I have both picked the Browns. Browns getting off with a win last week versus Jacksonville. A little unexpected for me. Looking a little better. But I'm still not feeling a ton of confidence in the Browns. But certainly enough to pick the win over the lowly Giants. And man, how bad can you feel for the Giants? With losing the game without having their kicker last week. Man, that just sucks for New York. And I don't think it'll be getting a whole lot better this week, as Rob and I both think they will lose. And after that, you've got the Green Bay Packers versus the Tennessee Titans. And Rob and I will both be picking Tennessee this game. Rob says, I really wanted to pick the Packers, but with Love on questionable play, I couldn't place my confidence in Malik Willis for a second week. LaFleur called a masterclass plan versus the Colts, but Green Bay only scored 16 points. The Titans could argue they should be 2-0 if not for some boneheaded plays by Will Levis. So pending Love's availability, I'll take Tennessee. Yeah, I absolutely agree with Rob on this point here. The Packers are far from a perfect team. So I would never rule out them losing to a team like Tennessee, especially without Love. Now that there's been some clips on and some game film on what LaFleur will do without Love, I think Tennessee can certainly take advantage of that and get their first win of the season versus Green Bay. After that, you've got the Indianapolis Colts and the Chicago Bears. And this one, I will have the Colts winning, and Rob will have the Bears. Yeah, so Bears offense not off to a great start at all. Just really looking poorly versus Houston in a game where they seem to be baiting them. Like, come on, make this a game. And they just could not do that. And Colts, on the other hand, looked like they could really have a nice win versus Green Bay, but had that slipped away. I do like the Colts here to get on track, get their first win of the season. And Anthony Richardson to put together a little bit more consistency. Although the Chicago Bears defense has been looking good, I think that Steichen will have the right plan drawn up for Indianapolis to get the win and for their running game to get going as well. After that, you've got the Houston Texans and the Minnesota Vikings. And Rob and I will both be having the Texans winning this one. Yeah, Texans, they're able to get the win on Sunday Night Football, but not looking too fantastic overall. And Vikings, I think to a lot of people's surprise, are now 2-0. I wouldn't put a whole lot of stake in that, though. I still don't think they're a good team. I stand firm to my Mark Borges from last week. I do not think they're a good team. I still think they'll be last in that division. Just got to wait for their time to come around. I think that game versus the 49ers was much more of a fluke than anything else. Sure, you can have your win versus the Giants. I'm not putting any faith in this Vikings team at all. Houston, however, I do like, and will have them winning. And after that, you've got the Philadelphia Eagles and the New Orleans Saints. I've picked the Eagles, and Rob has picked the Saints. Rob says, picking the Saints is less about how good they are and more about my lack of confidence in the Eagles. I think New Orleans is a fringe contender on a hot streak facing a confused and shaky Eagles team. Yeah, shaky is a good word to describe the Eagles after that Monday Night Football loss versus the Falcons. When it's like, what are you doing on that last drive? Make Cousins look amazing as they come down and win that game. And I think I'm going to pick the Eagles for kind of a similar reason. Just I feel like they really need a bounce back week. Yeah, I would agree that I don't have confidence in them, as I've previously stated, but I do think they can take a game here this week versus the Saints. The Saints are very interesting because I did not expect this at all. I thought they'd be quite a poorly team and quite boring to watch, but I mean that offense has lit it up. But I still don't want to crown these guys king. I would be still cautious. I would advise caution on the Saints. I still am not super convinced they'll even be a playoff team this year, let alone a contender of any kind. So I am pumping the brakes on the Saints. After that, we'll have the Los Angeles Chargers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I will have the Chargers, and Rob will have the Steelers. And Rob says, what can you say? Master coach versus master coach. Number 2 defense versus number 1 defense. With Herbert dating the Chargers likely antsy over their Week 4 game against Kansas City, I'll take Pittsburgh. And on the other hand, I'm going to take the Chargers. I don't particularly love either of these teams. I really don't like Harbaugh coach teams a whole lot, or Jim Harbaugh in particular. But, yeah, like, Chargers have been able to sneak out a couple of wins here. One versus the Raiders, one versus the Panthers. How much stock do you want to put into that? I don't know, not a ton for me. I still think they're going to be mediocre. I think the same about the Steelers, who also have 2 wins. Yeah, scoring 13 points per game. Whoop-de-doo. Yeah, you can beat Denver. Congratulations. Don't put a whole lot of stack into that. Neither of these teams are going to be good. I think you're crazy if you're going to think otherwise, if you think they're going to be good. Talking to you, Rob, Steelers are not good. They have no offense. If you think your defense is going to lead you back to somehow some 9 or 10 win season, good luck. I don't think it's as good as it's been, and their luck has finally run out. After that, we're going to have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Denver Broncos. And Rob and I will both be picking the Buccaneers this week. And Rob says, let's go Baker and the Bucs. It should be a very fun division race with New Orleans and Atlanta looking good. I foresee a 3-0 start for Tampa. Yes, as do I. Tampa looking very good so far. Baker Mayfield being an absolute terror to start the season. And now facing a Denver team with a shaky Bo Nix and just a talent depleted roster, they should be able to get a win. Although, honestly, I wouldn't count out the Buccaneers having some type of meltdown this week. I haven't predicted it, but I could see it happening. But, man, with the NFC South division, I just can't see 3 good teams in that division. Like, 3 actually good teams. I think 1 or 2 are definitely going to fall off. And we'll have to see who that is. Like, my original season prediction said it would be Atlanta. But maybe it will be the Bucs taking that and being the actual good team in that division. But I guess I'd like to see a couple more weeks of football before I really start making a decision about that. After that, you've got the Carolina Panthers and the Las Vegas Raiders. Rob will have the Raiders winning, and I will have the Panthers. I guess I'll chalk this up to, if you're going to win one, might as well be against this team. Raiders getting out a very unusual win versus the Baltimore Ravens last week. Really a shocker. And the Panthers now benching Bryce Young in favor for Andy Dalton. I was maybe thinking that Dalton may provide a little bit of a spark or at least some consistency for that team. I foresee this being a very low-scoring game, and one that I think the Panthers are going to squeak out victorious. After that, you got the Seattle Seahawks and the Miami Dolphins, and Rob and I will both have a Seattle winning this one. With Tua back on the IR, it looks like this should be an easy matchup for Seattle. Seattle ended up winning last week after taking the Patriots to overtime. Yeah, looking alright so far in this season. Seattle, about where I thought they'd be. Should be messing around there, looking for a wild card spot, but Miami, on the other hand, looking like their season could be going down the drain if Tua can't get back in good time. And man, that's something you don't want to rush. And after that, you've got the Baltimore Ravens and the Dallas Cowboys. I'll be picking the Ravens, and Rob will be picking the Cowboys. Yeah, both teams coming off as just bad losses. Dallas getting spanked by New Orleans last week, really running up the score on them, and the Ravens losing a shocker to the Raiders. I like the Ravens to bounce back this one. Going off to 0-2, I think they're really going to come out primed and ready. I think Harbaugh's really got them a nice plan dialed up, and this team does not want to go 3-0 because you know what it's like if you go 3-0. And I do think the Ravens are a more talented team than the Cowboys. So I would like to see the Ravens get the win this week. After that, we're going to have the San Francisco 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams. I will be picking the 49ers, and Rob will be picking the Rams. Rob says, the Rams got pummeled versus the Cardinals, also losing Cooper Kupp to injury, leaving them without their top 2 wide receivers. But I'm not too worried, as McVay and Stafford are more than capable of putting together a great game plan to take down a 49ers team also hampered by injuries. I'm definitely taking the Rams plus 6.5 if nothing else. There's no way they get blown out 2 weeks in a row, especially hosting this one. I disagree. I still like the 49ers. I mean, both teams really just haven't. This game is just insane injuries. Both sides. Both teams have many star players out in this one. But I still like the 49ers to win in this one. I still like Shanahan to be able to get the better of McVay in this one. As I will place my trust in the 49ers. And Rob, obviously, placing his trust in the Rams. So we will see who's right. And after that, you've got the Detroit Lions and the Arizona Cardinals in this one. And we will both be picking the Lions. So even though the Lions did lose last week to the Bucks in a close one, they had their chances again, but the Cardiac Cats couldn't make it happen again. And the Cardinals blowing out the Rams and certainly proving themselves as a pesky and fun team this year, the Cardinals. I'll be very interested to see how they continue as the season goes along. Now, I feel like I almost regret not picking them to be a little better in my season predictions because I had an inkling that's like, man, the Cardinals could be fun, but I just didn't pick them. I'm like, maybe I'm putting too much stock into that. But they've been fun to watch so far. I'll see what their season brings out. And Lions, I think they're going to keep on going, proving themselves to be a top contender in the NFC. After that, you've got the Chiefs and the Falcons. And Rob and I will both be picking the Chiefs. Chiefs looking good so far, as per usual. And I'm really looking better than I thought. And maybe I shouldn't say as per usual, because I've certainly been somebody over the last couple of years that have been pumping the brakes on this Chiefs team. But this year, I feel like I can't. I feel like they've looked so good. There's no reason to see them as the absolute best team in the NFL right now. And that should continue this week versus Atlanta. Atlanta's got a big test here. See if Cousins can put together a more consistent game and look pretty good. Look like maybe that end of game drive. If it could look like that more often, I think Atlanta could have a very good chance to win that division. And after that, you have got the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football. Rob and I will be picking the Bills in this one. Yeah, certainly some interesting vibes around Buffalo as they've lost to Jacksonville with 2 trap games recently. Thinking back to when Jacksonville was awful that one year, losing a low-scoring game, and also last year in London. So definitely some Bills fans being concerned about that. That being said, I will still pick the Bills. Jaguars are not looking very good this year, and Bills seem to be on a bit of a roll. I think we could see that continue this week with a nice Bills win. And finally, you've got the Cincinnati Bengals and the Washington Commanders. And Rob and I will both be picking the Bengals in this one. Bengals losing a tight one to the Chiefs last week, and Burrow looking much more like himself in that one, which I think is very good news for a Cincinnati team, and looking to continue to pile up some wins and get back to the playoff race. Washington squeaks one out, all field goals, winning versus the Giants. So, interesting one for them. Jane Daniels doing what he had to do, not looking too bad. Although that Commanders team, I think, is still going to be quite lowly this year. And look for a nice big win for the Bengals this week. And we will wrap things up with our picks, with our against the spread picks of the week. Rob is going to start things off, and he has got the Rams at plus 6.5. As he mentioned, as we talked about in that game, he quite likes the Rams, and he does not think they'll get blown out again. So he thinks absolutely take the Rams at 6.5. He's very confident in this one. I'd say I'm equally confident in my pick. I've got the Texans minus 2.5 versus Minnesota. I'm absolutely pumping the brakes on Minnesota. I don't think they're a good team. I think that's finally got to come around this week versus a good Houston team. And I think Houston is going to get a nice win. I'd say like a minimum 5 points. I'm looking more like 7 for me. I think Houston's going to get a win. I think absolutely hammering minus 2.5 for the Texans. And now it'll be time to head into the Rob's Fantasy Starts and Sits of the week. So we'll go ahead and get started with our starts. Rob says, start, tight end, Sam Laporta. Laporta's been off to a very slow start, logging only 6 receptions on 8 targets for 58 yards in Detroit's first 2 games of the season. Jared Goff and the Lions had a rough go of it at home versus the Buccaneers, but look to make a strong statement against the Cardinals. I expect the Lions to fall back on what they did well last year, ground pound and pass down the middle. Laporta needs to be involved in the Lions' offense if they hope to reach new heights, and I think offensive coordinator Ben Johnson knows that. This is Laporta's breakout week, so start Sam Laporta. Also start running back Rhamondre Stevenson. 1, 2, 3, Rhamondre Stevenson. What a start for him, who most, including myself, thought that his best days were over. Instead, he looks revitalized and confident. This week, Stevenson goes up against the Jets defense that was torn up by Saquon Barkley in Week 1 and by running back duo of the Titans in Week 2. So start Rhamondre Stevenson. And now for the sits. Rob says to sit wide receiver Amari Cooper. Cooper was a favorite target of quarterback Joe Flacco last season, but it's not clear that he has the same chemistry with Deshaun Watson. Through 2 games, Cooper has been a non-factor in the Browns' offense, and with Watson looking quite shaky, I wouldn't put my money on this aging wide receiver. So sit Amari Cooper. Also sit wide receiver Drake London. London greatly benefited from a less rusty Kirk Cousins last week. However, the Eagles' pass defense has been the worst in almost every statistical category since the end of last season. London has yet to realize what we think his potential is, and I don't see much evidence that this is his breakout week, especially facing the elite Chiefs defense. So sit Drake London. And now it'll be time to head into Scott's parlay bet of the week. If you didn't take my advice last week, I'd say that'd been good for you, as we did not have a good week in our parlay, missing all 3 legs to an 0 for 3. So this week, I quite like a 1 to make some big money to go along with my game picks. So this week, I like the Los Angeles Chargers at plus 102. Chargers, I do like their talent level slightly more than the Steelers. I think it'll be a close one, but I definitely like the Chargers to sneak out a win in Pittsburgh. I also like the Carolina Panthers. Like I said, this is their week. I think they can do it. So I'll be taking Panthers at the Raiders. I also like Baltimore Ravens minus 112 at Dallas. I like that Baltimore team, and I think they are really needing a win. That's going to show out, and they will take it this week. So this week, on the money line, bet Los Angeles Chargers, Carolina Panthers, Baltimore Ravens. And that is all I have for everyone today on the Mark My Words Football Podcast. I hope you have enjoyed. And if you did, please like, subscribe, and leave us a review. You can find us anywhere you get your podcast. We hope this has been a great week 2 and look forward to a fantastic week 3. If you like our advice, make some bets. And this has been Mark My Words Football Podcast with Rob and Scott. We are tuning out.